A very quick show with Frank and Sonny called The Frank and Sonny Show.
What do you think about this, Sonny? Shall we go on Mr. Elks's show? Would you like to say a few words, Sonny? No, he's just turned his head away. I'll put you back to Mr. Elks.
Why do you think it would be particularly difficult to have mental health problems if you're a farmer?
I knew one or two farmers who had, I don't know if it was mental health or stress related, because I was a farmer's son, and I used to watch my father and his brother and my grandfather go out. You know, if the weather wasn't right, the crops weren't right, if the cattle weren't producing the milk that they should be, or there was illness in the cattle, you know, that puts a lot of stress. And I presume mental health can run along with stress or anxiety. And you think you're going out, you've got to go out and do your cattle and your animals and your livestock and your land, because it's your income, it's your life, and it's how you're looking after your family. But being a farmer, your cattle become your friends, like Sonny, my dog. You know, I watch over him to make sure he's tickety-boo. It's just a shame that, you know, Sonny can't have a conversation with me. Because if he did, he'd probably think, what a load of rubbish I'm talking about. But going back to mental health and farming, unfortunately there's been a lot of suicides in the farming industry, and I would think, or put that down mostly to work's not going to plan, the bank are knocking at the door, because there's not a lot of people who are in a position where they're self-funding, because most of them are either on tide farms from councils or they've got a horrendous mortgage. And if the crops aren't doing well, and the cattle and the beef market, the lamb market and the pig market is down at the auctions, you're probably going to come out probably even Stevens. You're not going to make anything out of your cattle. But again, you've got to keep producing. And the other thing is as well, if you're a farmer and you've got 400 head of Friesians to milk, and you wake up one morning and you've never had mental issues before, and you think, well, I can't do this today. Well, who's going to do it? A cow can't milk itself. You know, they can't feed themselves. They can to a certain degree, but you've got to put the food in front of them. And, you know, they need to be let out in the summer periods. In the winter time, they need bedding down. As well as you have to look into pigs, you know, when they're pregnant and taking care of them, and sheep as well with shearing and maggots, etc., etc. So I presume, well, I knew my father and his father and my dad's brother, my uncle, it was a lot of hard work. I didn't go into farming myself. Sometimes I wished I had, actually, but I went into another skill. But I still mix with a lot of farmers. I like to watch what's happening on the land, in the country, in the world. But there's people out there who are there to help farmers like they are plumbers, electricians, dustbin men. So if you've got that issue, or you think you've got a problem, go and have a chat, talk to your friends, go and have a chat with your doctor, and he'll put you on the right road.
When I asked the question about farmers and how having mental health problems might be particularly difficult if you're a farmer, I was thinking of things like isolation and loneliness, but you made the point, which I hadn't really thought of properly before. Farmers are under a lot of stress constantly, aren't they? Because they're dealing with the weather, and they're dealing with their animals, and, you know, like you said, they have to be there. And I know that stress was a big factor in my illness being triggered. But just say just a little bit more about stress.
You know, I was only a boy, so I probably didn't recognise my father's stress levels, but I could tell when things weren't going right. And my grandfather was the head of the family. He said in those days, that's what you had to do if you liked it or not. And enjoy life and enjoy what you're doing in life.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Hopefully that will connect with somebody. See you next time. Thanks for listening.